Welcome to Aither Insights, where we bring you the best market analysis on critical regulations and evolving topics in the environmental commodities markets.
For those just joining us, our mission here at Aither Insights is, well, to unpack complex information. We distill it into the most vital nuggets of knowledge, helping you become well-informed quickly and thoroughly.
Today, we're embarking into a critical and rapidly evolving area, biomethane certificates. We'll explore its core definition, how it's produced, the dynamics shaping its market, and, what the future holds.
It really is a fascinating space.
Yeah, offering surprising insights that could truly reshape our energy landscape. The big question we're sort of looking to answer is, how realistic is biomethane's promise to accelerate decarbonization? And what hidden complexities or surprising opportunities might we uncover along the way?
Absolutely. And you've undoubtedly heard about the global push for cleaner energy. Biomethane is a significant and, I'd say, increasingly central part of that conversation. Understanding its role and the market around it isn't just crucial for staying ahead in environmental commodities. It's really about grasping a key pathway to a more sustainable future. So, yeah, let's unpack this.
Okay, let's start with the absolute basics then. What exactly is biomethane, and how does it fit into the broader energy picture, especially compared to, say, biogas or even traditional natural gas?
Good question. So biogas is kind of the raw starting point. It's a mixture of gases, primarily methane and carbon dioxide, that you get when organic matter breaks down without oxygen.
Raw gas.
Exactly. Biomethane then is that biogas, but it's been through a process. It's cleaned up or upgraded until it's chemically pretty much identical to natural fossil gas.
Wow. Identical. So it can just slot into our existing gas infrastructure. That's quite something.
That's the idea, yeah.
And you mentioned its near carbon neutral nature. Could you expand on that a bit? Because that seems like its real superpower.
It really is fascinating. The near carbon neutral part comes from the source material, the biomass, whether it's waste or crops grown for energy.
Right.
That biomass captures CO2 as it grows. Then, when you combust the biomethane, that CO2 goes back into the atmosphere, sure, but then new biomass grows and captures it again.
So it's a closed loop.
Pretty much, yeah, a closed loop. It makes it a key part of this broader category of green gas, which also includes things like green hydrogen.
It sounds like it's genuinely turning waste into a valuable resource. So where do these organic materials, the feedstocks, come from? What's a production process like?
That's exactly it, turning waste into value. The feedstocks can be really diverse. We're talking things that were previously just discarded.
Like what?
Well, sewage sludge, for one.
Yeah.
Various types of animal manure, even general biowaste from homes and industry.
Okay.
But it can also come from plants specifically grown for it, like sugarcane or sorghum. And even sequential cropping, which is interesting because it helps avoid indirect land use change issues. The core process, as I mentioned, is that anaerobic digestion microbes breaking down the organic stuff without oxygen. Then comes the upgrading step to purify the methane.
So what does all this mean for the environment? This is where it gets, well, really interesting, right? The impact sounds potentially huge.
It is significant, yeah. Biomethane offers substantial emission reduction opportunities. First off, it uses waste that would otherwise just decompose and release methane anyway, and methane's a potent greenhouse gas.
More potent than CO2.
Much more potent, in the short term especially. And while biomethane and natural gas are both mostly methane, biomethane's life cycle emissions can be, in some cases, up to 79% lower than fossil natural gas.
79%. That's a massive difference.
It really is. So it's a critical tool for fighting climate change, for decarbonizing sectors like heavy industry, transport. Beyond just emissions, it promotes a circular economy, by giving value to waste, and supports cleaner farming. It feels like a win-win.
Okay, so to actually track these benefits and make credible renewable gas claims, companies use these biomethane certificates. How do those actually work in practice?
Right, the certificates. They're usually called Energy Attribute Certificates, or EACs. You get one issued for each megawatt hour of biomethane that gets injected into the gas grid.
One per megawatt hour.
Yep. And each certificate is basically a digital tag. It has a unique electronic identifier with all the key info, where the biomethane was made, when, how, the feedstock used.
Okay.
And they're absolutely crucial. They guarantee the claims are authentic, that the gas is genuinely renewable, and, maybe most importantly, they stop double counting of those environmental benefits.
Double counting, right? That would undermine the whole system.
Completely.
So with that understanding of certificates, what's actually happening right now in the market itself? What are the current dynamics? What's driving prices?
Well, the market is definitely heating up. Global renewable natural gas production, same thing as biomethane, really hit about 9.25 billion cubic meters in 2023. And the forecast for 2024 is getting close to 12 billion cubic meters. Europe and North America are clearly the leaders right now.
But others are emerging.
Definitely seeing promising momentum in places like Brazil, China, India too. It's becoming a more global picture.
And on the pricing side, what are the key things influencing cost? I heard waste-derived biomethane might be valued differently.
That's right. Price depends on several things. Feedstock is a big one. Biomethane that comes from waste, often linked to greater environmental benefits, like diverting waste from landfill. Plus, policy sometimes specifically supports waste feedstocks. But beyond feedstock, you've got regulatory changes, even geopolitical events. They can all sway prices. What's really interesting, though, is the production cost itself is actually trending downwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, making it more and more competitive with traditional natural gas.
That falling production cost is a big deal. Suggests the industry is maturing. How are companies locking in this supply and managing the price swings?
Good point. Many are turning to biomethane purchase agreements. They're a lot like the power purchase agreements, the PPAs, you see for renewable electricity.
Okay, long-term contracts.
Exactly. They let companies secure renewable gas at stable, long-term prices, so it helps them hedge against market volatility.
And gives producers certainty too, right? For investment.
Precisely. Guaranteed cash flow for producers, which is vital for getting new projects off the ground. And the buyers get predictable costs for meeting their emissions targets. So let's zoom in a bit on Europe. It's seen huge growth, but what's the latest data telling us there?
Okay, Europe. By the end of Q1 2025, the installed production capacity hit 7 billion cubic meters annually. That's up 9% from 2024.
9% growth, okay.
And the number of plants keeps climbing too. It reached 1,678 total biomethane plants in Europe. 165 of those were new ones starting up in just the past year.
Wow, 165 new plants. That's quite an expansion.
It is. And to give you a sense of scale, the average plant size in Europe is now around 483 normal cubic meters per hour. And crucially, over 85% of these plants are connected directly to the gas grid.
So it's becoming really integrated.
Very much so, part of the existing energy system.
That's impressive growth. Now, I understand France has really surged ahead, even overtaking Germany. Germany used to be the big renewables player. What happened there?
Yeah, it's a really interesting shift. France is now the leader in European biomethane production. They have a 21% higher production share than Germany now, and 3 times the number of plants.
3 times the plants. How?
It really seems to highlight the power of supportive policy. France is bringing in a new certificate scheme in 2026, for example. It suggests that even without Germany's huge existing biogas base, the right framework can really accelerate things.
So clear policy signals matter.
Hugely. Meanwhile, places like the UK and Germany have seen growth almost stall, mostly put down to regulatory uncertainty.
Which freezes investment.
Right. Exactly. If you're an investor, you need that long-term clarity. It shows a direct link between policy consistency and actual climate action on the ground.
That really drives home the policy angle. And speaking of policy, the EU's Repower EU plan set this massive target, didn't it? 35 billion cubic meters of biomethane by 2030. How's that looking?
Well, here's where we see a bit of a reality check. A significant gap, actually. The current commitments from the individual countries' national energy and climate plans, they only add up to 14.16 billion cubic meters.
Only 14 billion out of a 35 billion target.
Yeah, so there's a big policy challenge there. How do you translate those ambitious block-level goals into concrete national action needed to bridge that, 20-plus billion cubic meter gap?
That is a major gap to fill.
Yeah.
But the European Commission itself is pushing hard, aiming for a 90% cut in greenhouse gas emissions by 2040 compared to 1990. And biomethane is clearly part of their strategy.
Absolutely. They really do see biomethane as a win-win solution. There was a recent report suggesting that EU27 could potentially produce a huge amount, 101 billion cubic meters by 2040. Mostly from anaerobic digestion, but maybe a third from thermal gasification too. And new rules like the Renewable Energy Directive III and the Net Zero Industry Act, they're aiming to streamline permitting, cut the red tape, which should help speed things up.
Okay, faster permitting is always good. And how does this all fit with existing carbon markets, like the EU emissions trading scheme? Does biomethane get treated differently there?
It does, and that's important. Under the EU ETS, biomethane is zero rated for emissions as long as it meets the sustainability criteria set out in the Renewable Energy Directive.
Zero rated. So companies using it don't need to surrender allowances.
Exactly. They avoid having to pay for allowances for the fossil natural gas they've replaced. It's a direct financial incentive.
Right. Now, the certification landscape is also evolving, you mentioned. That's key for trading across borders.
Yeah.
What are the main certificate types in the EU?
Primarily two types you'll hear about: guarantees of origin, or GOs, and proofs of sustainability, or POS.
Okay.
GOs are issued nationally. They basically just prove the energy came from a renewable source. Some of these can be traded across borders. Proofs of sustainability, the POS, go further. They certify the biomethane meets specific EU sustainability rules, things like land use impacts, life cycle emissions.
And are these systems working together smoothly, making cross-border trade easy, or is it still fragmented?
There are schemes trying to help, like the European Renewable Gas Registry scheme and the Association of Issuing Bodies gas scheme. They facilitate transfers. Right now, trading between those two specific schemes isn't straightforward without bilateral agreements between countries. So yes, it does create some market fragmentation.
Okay, so still some barriers there.
There are, but the Union database for biofuels that becomes mandatory for gases, it's designed to track the proofs of sustainability and hopefully bring more harmony to the market.
So progress, but still challenges in trading biomethane across Europe.
Definitely. You still see some countries putting in national blending rules that favor local production, which hinders that wider EU market integration. Clearer stats are needed to stop any double counting, for sure. And overarching all of it is the need for regulatory stability. Long-term certainty is what investors crave.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift focus across the Atlantic. North America is also a big player in renewable natural gas, right? What's the scene like there?
Yeah, North America is very active. Over 300 RNG facilities are running there. Historically, a lot of the supply, maybe over 70%, came from landfills and municipal solid waste. But interestingly, since 2021 in the U.S., agricultural projects, things like manure digesters, became the primary source of new RNG production.
Shift towards agriculture.
Yeah, and projections suggest the U.S. could be producing somewhere between 1.6 and maybe 3.8 trillion cubic feet of RNG annually for pipeline injection by 2030.
That's a wide range, but significant potential.
It is.
So lots happening there, too. It really shows different regions are tackling this in slightly different ways. To really get a feel for that, let's look back at Europe, but focus on specific countries. Each one seems like a mini case study. What stands out?
Well, Denmark, for example, incredibly ambitious. They want 100% biomethane in their gas grid by 2030.
100%. Wow.
Yeah, and they were already upgrading 80% of their biogas back in 2022. But now they're facing potential headwinds like new CO2 taxes on green biogas and tariff changes that might push up prices.
Okay, so even leaders face hurdles. What about France, the new frontrunner?
France, as we said, fastest growing, produced 9.1 terawatt hours in 2023. Target is 7-10% biomethane in their gas mix by 2030. And that new certificate scheme coming in 2026 is key, obligating suppliers. Germany has a massive number of biogas plants, around 8,700, but only about a tenth of that biogas gets upgraded to biomethane. The focus there is shifting toward using waste-based biomethane, especially for transport fuel, but they really need those clearer long-term policies to boost growth again.
Any other key markets?
Italy is another fast grower, had 96 operational plants end of 2023, making about 7.8 terawatt hours a year. Their national plan targets 5.7 billion cubic meters by 2030, potentially covering 9% of their current gas imports, and they have significant EU funding helping that.
That's substantial. What about bio-LNG, liquefied biomethane?
Good point. Norway is pushing bio-LNG production, mainly for heavy-duty transport. They have a political goal of 10 terawatt hours of biomethane productivity by 2030.
And bio-LNG generally is expected to grow fast, right? Especially with shipping regulations tightening.
Exactly. Bio-LNG, being energy-dense and transportable, is seen as vital for decarbonizing tricky sectors like maritime and long-haul trucking.
Makes sense. Any other countries worth highlighting quickly?
Sure. Portugal is earlier stage, but gaining momentum, new legislation, action plan aiming for 2.7 terawatt hours by 2030. Romania has huge potential, maybe 2 billion cubic meters by 2030, but no production. Yet their strategy focuses on incentives and setting up a registry. Spain's, seeing gradual growth, doubled its biogas target to 20 terawatt hours by 2030 in its updated plan.
Okay. And Ukraine? despite the conflict.
Remarkably, yes. Ukraine signed a strategic partnership with the EU to develop its biomethane sector. Potential is estimated at nearly 22 billion cubic meters annually by 2050. The first plant started in April 2023, and several more projects are expected by end of 2024, shows real long-term commitment.
Incredible resilience.
Right.
Okay, looking ahead then, 2025 and beyond, what's the overall market forecast? Continued acceleration, new trends.
Yeah, high growth rates, think around 20% per year, are expected to continue for production in 2025. Interestingly, while prices for voluntary guarantees of origin dipped a bit in 2024, biomethane, used in compliance markets, especially for transport fuels, showed real price resilience. We're also seeing more auctions for GOs, and some, like in France, are getting fully subscribed. That points to strong, growing buyer interest.
So demand is solidifying, especially where there are mandates. You mentioned bio-LNG growth.
Yeah.
What about even newer tech like e-methane?
Right, e-methane. That's getting a lot of attention. It's basically synthetic methane made by combining green hydrogen, that's hydrogen from renewables, with captured biogenic CO2.
Closing the carbon loop even further.
Potentially, yes. Offers a potentially very scalable long-term renewable gas path. It's not really commercially available yet.
Pilot stage.
Exactly. Pilot plants are popping up. More widespread verification scale-up is probably expected closer to 2030, but it's definitely one to watch the next generation of green gas, perhaps.
Okay, so to really unlock all this potential, meet those big targets, what are the key policy recommendations being pushed? What needs to happen?
It mostly comes down to creating a more stable, predictable, and harmonized environment. Things like ensuring legal certainty, a level playing field for producers across different regions, setting higher, clearer national targets to actually meet that overall EU ambition we talked about.
Bridging that gap.
Right. Developing policies that properly value biomethane's other benefits, like waste management and energy storage aspects. Further incentives for using biomethane as a feedstock. And on the certificate side, harmonizing the rules between different SEGO registries is crucial. And just designing a consistent, long-term energy system framework that investors can rely on.
Stability and clarity seem key.
Absolutely. It's clear the biomethane market isn't just growing, it's really transforming. It offers this powerful route to decarbonization, better energy security, and a much more circular economy. The insights from Europe and North America really show a sector that's poised for significant impact.
Totally agree. The commitment we're seeing from policymakers, combined with the innovation in production and those certification schemes, it all points to biomethane playing a vital role in a sustainable future.
And if you are looking to integrate biomethane or perhaps other renewable energy solutions into your own sustainability strategy, Aither Group is here to help.
Yeah, Aither Group plays a really crucial role in the market, ensuring the efficient transfer of biomethane certificates. That includes things like European biomethane guarantees of origin, the Italian biomethane certificates, and the UK's renewable gas guarantees of origin, moving them smoothly between buyers and sellers.
Mm-hmm.
Our energy experts work with a global network, helping companies navigate this international landscape and meet both their compliance needs and their voluntary sustainability goals.
So whether you're just starting to define a renewable energy sourcing strategy, perhaps exploring corporate power purchase agreements or biomethane purchase agreements, or looking for other bespoke solutions, our team can definitely guide you on your green energy journey and provide that expert guidance.
To learn more, or just to discuss how Aither Group might be able to assist you, please do reach out to our team. Thank you for joining us for this Aither Insights.
We look forward to bringing you more essential market analysis next time.